Chatting Tracks. Let's talk music.
Hi, I'm Robbie, it's Chatting Tracks. Welcome along. Today we're going to look at the top 10 greatest rock riffs of all time. So today we're going to dive into the electrifying world of the guitar riff. These iconic sequences that have defined rock music and sent shivers down our spine. Whether you're a seasoned guitarist or just a great fan of music, these top 10 riffs are guaranteed to get your fingers tapping and your heart racing. I promise you, baby. From the bluesy bends of Jimi Hendrix to the heavy crunch of Led Zeppelin, we're counting down the most legendary guitar riffs of all time. So plug in, turn it up, and let's rock. Let's get started, shall we? At number 10 is Jimi Hendrix and Purple Haze.
Purple Haze was released in 1967 as part of Jimi Hendrix's debut album, Are You Experienced? It quickly became one of his most famous songs, and for good reason. From the opening guitar riff, you're immediately drawn into Hendrix's world, one filled with bold experimentation, wild creativity, and an electrifying energy that's hard to resist. Now let's talk about the famous guitar riff. It's one of the most recognisable in rock history. Hendrix used a unique technique called the tritone, also known as the Devil's Interval. This tone creates a tense, almost disorientating sound that perfectly matched the song's trippy vibe. And that's no accident. Hendrix was all about pushing boundaries of what rock music could do. And man, did he do it. Now, speaking of trippy vibes, the lyrics of Purple Haze are just as mind-bending as the music. Many people think the song was about substances. And while it's true that Hendrix's music was often associated with the psychedelic culture of the 1960s, Jimmy himself said the lyrics were more about a dream he had. In the song, he sings about feeling lost and confused, unable to tell what's real and what's not, an experience that's more about mind than any substance. One line that really stands out is "Excuse me while I kiss the sky." It's one of those lyrics that's been misunderstood for decades and often misheard as "excuse me while I kiss this guy." Having a great sense of humour, Hendrix actually played with this misunderstanding, sometimes pointing at his bandmates during live performances as he sang that line just for fun. Beyond the playful misinterpretations, Purple Haze is really a song about exploring new frontiers, whether it's music, the mind, or life itself. Hendrix always pushed the limits, and this song is a perfect example of his fearless creativity. Musically, Purple Haze also showcases Hendrix's groundbreaking use of the electric guitar. He was a true pioneer, using effects like distortion and feedback in a way that no one had ever done before. Honestly, the man was insanely brilliant. The result is a sound that is both raw and otherworldly, almost like you're being transported into another dimension. You've only got to listen to the music and it just takes you somewhere else. A true pioneer, true genius. We love you, Jimmy. So next time you listen to Purple Haze, take a moment to appreciate all the elements that make it so special. The brilliant guitar work, the surreal lyrics, and the bold spirit of exploration that runs through it all. Jimi Hendrix wasn't just playing music, he was creating a whole new universe of sound, and it's a place I could happily live forever.
At number 9 is Enter Sandman by Metallica.
Enter Sandman was released in 1991 as the lead single from Metallica's self-titled album. Often called the Black Album, this marked a major shift for the band as they moved forward to a more mainstream sound, making their music more accessible to a wider audience. The result? Massive success. But let's talk about the song itself. It starts with that unforgettable riff, dark, heavy, and instantly recognisable. The riff was actually the first thing written for the song by Metallica's lead guitarist Kirk Hammett. According to him, it came to him late one night, almost like the Sandman was whispering in his ear. Creepy. Now the lyrics. James Hetfield, the band's lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist, wrote the lyrics. At first, the song was going to be about crib death, when a baby suddenly dies in their sleep. But Hetfield decided to shift focus instead, and it became a song about nightmares and the fear of the unknown, a fear that anyone who's had a bad dream can relate to. The lyrics are full of childhood imagery, like the "Now I lay me down to sleep" prayer and the "Hush little baby" lullaby. But in Metallica's hands, these comforting words become something much darker. It's like the song is saying, even the things that are supposed to protect you can't keep the monsters away. What makes Enter Sandman so powerful is how it blends these intense lyrics and the hard-hitting music. The result is a song that gets under your skin, just like a nightmare would. And that's exactly what Metallica was going for. They wanted to create a sense of unease and tap into those childhood fears that we all have no matter how old you get. And guess what? It worked. Enter Sandman became Metallica's most successful single, reaching high positions on charts worldwide. It's used in movies, TV shows, sports events, and is often the go-to Metallica song for fans and newcomers alike. So next time you hear the haunting riff, remember the story behind it. Enter Sandman isn't just a song, it's an experience, a journey into the darkest corners of our minds, led by one of the greatest metal bands of all time.
At number 8, Paranoid by Black Sabbath.
First off, Paranoid was released in 1970 as part of Black Sabbath's second album, which was also called Paranoid. Interestingly, the song wasn't even supposed to be on the album originally. The band needed a short, fast track to complete the album. So guitarist Tony Iommi would come up with a riff, and within just a few hours the band had written and recorded the entire song. Talk about last minute magic. Lyrically, Paranoid deals with the feelings of mental instability and despair. Ozzy Osbourne's vocals perfectly capture this, as he sings about someone who is spiralling into paranoia and depression. Geezer Butler, the band's bassist, wrote the lyrics, and he later explained that he was inspired by some of his own experiences with those emotions. Musically, Paranoid is a powerhouse. Tony Iommi's riff is one of the most recognisable in rock history. Simple, yet incredibly effective. The song is fast-paced, clocking in at just under 3 minutes, and packs a punch with its driving beat and raw energy. Bill Ward's drumming and Geezer Butler's bass work together create a tight rhythmic foundation that makes the track irresistible. So let's talk about the song's impact. Paranoid became an anthem of its era and is often cited as helped define the sound of heavy metal. It reached number 4 on the UK charts and became Black Sabbath's first and only top 20 hit in the US. Over the years, it's been covered by countless artists and remains a staple of rock radio to this day. So there you have it, a quick look at Paranoid by Black Sabbath. It's a song born out of necessity but ended up becoming a defining track of a generation. If you haven't given it a listen in a while, do yourself a favour and crank it up. It's one of those tracks that just never gets old.
At number 7, Sunshine of Your Love by Cream.
Sunshine of Your Love is a song that is instantly recognisable from its opening riff, a riff that became a classic in rock music history. But did you know the song almost never came to be? Let's rewind to early 1967. Cream was a British blues band formed by 3 talented musicians: Eric Clapton on guitar, Jack Bruce on bass, and Ginger Baker on drums. They were known for blending blues, rock, and psychedelic sounds in a way that hadn't really been done before. The idea for Sunshine of Your Love came after Eric Clapton and Jack Bruce attended a concert by the legendary Jimi Hendrix, and number 10 on this list. They were blown away by Hendrix's performance and were inspired to write a song that captured the same raw energy. Jack Bruce came up with the famous bass line that drives the song. He was just playing around with some ideas and stumbled upon this deep, powerful sound. Clapton then added a bluesy guitar line over it, and suddenly the song started to take shape. The song wasn't complete yet. The lyrics were written by the band's lyricist Pete Brown, who often collaborated with Jack Bruce. Brown was inspired by the late-night session the band had and were jamming for hours as the sun began to rise. The phrase, "It's getting near dawn," was literally a description of what he saw outside and became the opening line of the song. So why has Sunshine of Your Love stood the test of time? It's simple. The song has everything: a killer riff, powerful lyrics, and a groove that gets stuck right into your head. It perfectly captures the essence of the Cream sound: blues, bold, and ahead of its time. Let's not forget the impact the song had. Released in 1967, Sunshine of Your Love became Cream's biggest hit, reaching the top 10 in both the UK and the US. It helped establish them as one of the greatest rock bands of the era. Sunshine of Your Love remains a milestone in rock history. It's a song that reminds us of the power of collaboration, inspiration, and one of those magical moments when creativity just clicks.
Number 6 is Day Tripper by the Beatles.
First off, let's talk about the riff. The unforgettable guitar line that hooks you in right from the start. George Harrison and John Lennon came up with the riff, which is instantly recognisable. It's bluesy, punchy, and really drives the song forward. In fact, many people consider it one of the greatest guitar riffs of all time. But not on this list. The lyrics of Day Tripper are pretty intriguing too. John Lennon, who wrote most of the lyrics, described the song as a bit of a throwaway, just something he needed to write quickly. But like many Beatles songs, there's more to it than meets the eye. The term day tripper was British slang at the time. It referred to someone who goes on a day trip. But Lennon used it to describe someone who is partly committed to something, kind of like a tourist in life. Some fans believe it's a playful jab at the people who were experimenting with the counterculture of the 60s, but weren't fully immersed in it. Lennon himself said it was about a girl who was only interested in tripping, a reference to substance use, but not serious about much else. Musically, Day Tripper blends rock, blues, and pop elements. The song features a driving beat from Ringo Starr, tight harmonies from Lennon and Paul McCartney, and the steady, infectious bass line from McCartney. The Beatles were masters at blending different genres to create something unique, and Day Tripper is a perfect example of that. And let's not forget the production. Day Tripper was recorded during a time when the Beatles were starting to experiment in the studio a lot more, and you can hear in the song's crisp sound how every instrument is clear and punchy. Even though it was recorded quickly, the quality is top-notch, showing the Beatles' growing prowess in the studio. Upon its release, Day Tripper was a massive hit. It was released as a double A-side along with the single We Can Work It Out, and both songs topped the charts around the world. The song has since become a staple of rock and is still loved by fans of all ages. Let me know what your favourite single is in the comments, Day Tripper or We Can Work It Out. I'm just being nosy, to be honest. So why does Day Tripper still resonate today? It's simple, the song is fun and the riff is timeless. It also captured the Beatles at a pivotal moment in their career, when they were transitioning from pop sensations to more experimental and influential artists. Plus, it's a great song to sing along to.
Returning again at number 5, it's Black Sabbath and Iron Man.
Making their second appearance on the list, it's Black Sabbath with Iron Man. Iron Man was released in 1970 as part of Black Sabbath's second album, Paranoid. It's a track that has helped define heavy metal as we know it. But here's the kicker. The song isn't about the Marvel superhero Iron Man. It actually tells the story of a man who travels to the future, witnesses the end of the world, and then travels back to warn humanity. Haha, but there's a twist. The journey turns him into metal, and when people ignore him, he becomes enraged and causes the very destruction he tried to prevent. It's a dark, twisted sci-fi tale set to the soundtrack of Tony Iommi's crushing guitar riff. Talking of riffs, Tony Iommi, Black Sabbath's guitarist, came up with it by accident. He was messing around with some guitar effects. The riff is heavy, sludgy, and just plain menacing. It's a perfect match for the song's apocalyptic theme. And then let's not forget Ozzy Osbourne's vocals. He delivers the lyrics in an eerie robotic feel, almost as if he's Iron Man himself telling the story. And let's not forget Geezer Butler on bass and Bill Ward on drums to round the sound out, making it one of the most powerful and enduring tracks in rock history. Iron Man became an instant classic and has been influential in more ways than one. It's not just a staple of Black Sabbath's live performances, but also in pop culture. The song's been featured in movies, TV shows, and of course is practically synonymous with a Marvel character now, thanks to its use in the Iron Man movies. But more importantly, Iron Man set the stage for countless metal bands to follow. It showed that heavy metal music could tell stories as epic and as grand as any movie or book. The song's still relevant today as it was over 50 years ago. So whether you're a lifelong Sabbath fan or just discovering them, Iron Man is a track that showcases the raw power and storytelling potential of heavy metal music. Next time you listen to it, just think about the story behind the music, the man who became metal, and the warning that went unheard.
At number 4, Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses.
Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses is one of the most iconic rock anthems that seems to be around pretty much forever, blasting through car radios, concert halls, and pretty much every 80s rock list. But how did this legendary track come to be? Let's dive into the story behind the song. The story begins in the mid-1980s in Los Angeles. Guns N' Roses were a young, up-and-coming band still trying to find their sound and make a name for themselves. The band's lead guitarist Slash was just goofing around during rehearsals one day, playing a playful circus-like riff on the guitar. Little did he know that riff would become the foundation of Sweet Child of Mine. The other band members heard it and immediately felt there was something special. Axl Rose, the band's frontman, started writing lyrics on the spot, inspired by his then-girlfriend Erin Everly. The lyrics are raw, sincere, and painted a picture of pure love and admiration. The chorus, "Where do we go now?" was actually a spontaneous line that stuck. It's that kind of magic where something just happens and everything clicks. What's interesting is that Sweet Child of Mine wasn't supposed to be a single. The band didn't take it that seriously at first. It was just a happy accident, a filler track. But when they recorded their debut album, Appetite for Destruction, it became clear they had something big on their hands. When the song was released in 1987, it quickly shot up the charts, becoming Guns N' Roses' first and only single to go to number 1 in the US. The combination of Slash's unforgettable guitar riff, Axl's passionate vocals, and the heartfelt lyrics resonated with listeners around the world. Even today, Sweet Child of Mine remains a symbol of 80s rock. It's a track that captures the essence of the band at its peak, raw, powerful, and a little bit accidental. The song has been covered by countless artists, featured in movies, and continues to be a crowd favourite at concerts. So, the next time you hear that iconic riff, remember the story of how a playful jam session turned into one of the greatest rock songs of all time. Guns N' Roses may not have known it then, but with Sweet Child of Mine, they created a timeless classic that continues to captivate generations and music lovers to this day.
At number 3, Back in Black by AC/DC.
Back in Black. Just hearing those words probably has that legendary riff playing in your head already. It's more than just a song, it's a rock and roll anthem that has lasted and stood the test of time. But how did this iconic track come to be? AC/DC, the Australian rock band known for their electrifying performances and raw sound, faced a huge challenge in 1980. Their lead singer Bon Scott tragically passed away in February of that year. For many bands, that would have been the end of the road, but not for AC/DC. In the midst of grief, the band made a bold decision. They would carry on. They found a new frontman in Brian Johnson, a singer from Newcastle, England, who had the voice and the attitude to fill Bon Scott's shoes. And then, just 5 months after Scott's passing, AC/DC did something incredible. They went into the studio and recorded Back in Black, a tribute to their fallen bandmate and a declaration that they were here to stay. The title track, Back in Black, starts with an unforgettable riff. Created by guitarist Angus Young, Back in Black wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon. The album it belonged to was one of the best-selling albums of all time, selling over 50 million copies worldwide. The song itself has been featured in countless movies, commercials, and sports events, making it a staple of rock history. Even today, decades later, Back in Black still resonates with fans old and new. Its energy is infectious, its message is timeless, and its place in rock and roll history is secure. So next time you hear the riff, remember the story behind it. A story of loss, determination, and a band that refused to give up. AC/DC truly came back in black, and rock music was never the same again. Rock on, baby.
At number 2, A Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin.
A Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin isn't just a song. It's a rock and roll anthem that helped define an era. Released in 1969 on their second album, Led Zeppelin II, this track became a breakthrough hit for the band. and is often considered one of the greatest rock songs of all time. Yep, I agree with that. The song kicks off with the unmistakable guitar riff by Jimmy Page. It's raw, powerful, and instantly recognisable. Paired with John Bonham's thunderous drumming and John Paul Jones's deep bass line, it creates a heavy blues-fused sound that was revolutionary for its time. And of course, there's Robert Plant's vocals, intense, passionate, and completely unforgettable. His vocals soar, delivering lyrics that were both suggestive and filled with energy. The song's lyrics were inspired by the blues standard Need Your Love by Willie Dixon, showing Zeppelin's ability to transform and electrify traditional blues into something entirely new. One of the most iconic parts of A Whole Lot of Love is the psychedelic breakdown in the middle of the track. It's a wild soundscape of experimental effects, including Page's use of the theremin and innovative studio techniques by producer Page himself, along with sound engineer Eddie Kramer. This section builds tension before exploding back into the main riff, taking the listeners on an unforgettable sonic journey. It just blows my mind every time. The song's influence can't be overstated. It became Zeppelin's first hit single in the US, reaching number 4 on the Billboard Top 100 chart. Decades later, it remains a staple in rock music, a testament to the band's creativity and their ability to push the boundaries of what rock should be. A Whole Lot of Love is more than just a song. It's a powerful experience that captures the essence of Led Zeppelin's groundbreaking sound and continues to resonate with listeners across the generations. Whether you're hearing it for the first time or the 100th, it never fails to leave an impact.
Number 1, what else could it be but Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple?
Let's rewind to December 1971. Deep Purple were in Montreux, Switzerland to record their next album at a casino using the Rolling Stones mobile recording studio. Everything was set for a smooth recording session, but things quickly went sideways. During a Frank Zappa concert at the casino, someone in the crowd fired a flare gun into the ceiling. The place caught fire and the entire casino burnt down. The band watched the flames from across Lake Geneva, and what they saw inspired them. The title Smoke on the Water came from the thick smoke that spread across the lake as the casino burned. After the fire, the band scrambled to find another place to record. They ended up in a nearly empty hotel and began working on new material. That's where Smoke on the Water was born. The lyrics literally describe what happened. We all came out to Montreux on the Lake Geneva shoreline to make records with a mobile. We didn't have much time. The guitar riff played by Richie Blackmore on the record is simple yet incredibly powerful, and has been a must-learn for anyone trying to learn the guitar ever since. Smoke on the Water became one of Deep Purple's biggest hits and is still a rock anthem to this day. It was released on their 1972 album Machine Head, and the rest is history. The song has been covered by countless artists and remains a staple in rock radio playlists. More than just a song, Smoke on the Water is a piece of rock history, capturing a moment of chaos and turning it into something unforgettable. So the next time you hear that unmistakable riff, you know the wild story behind it. Smoke on the Water isn't just a song, it's a testament to how creativity can create something from chaos and rise from the ashes. Literally.
And there you have it, the top 10 rock riffs of all time. Now, these aren't just notes played on the guitar. These are anthems that defined a generation and inspired countless musicians all around the world. Whether it's the raw power of AC/DC, the mystique of Led Zeppelin, or the groove of Deep Purple, these riffs have cemented their place in rock history and they deserve to be there. Now, let me know in the comments what your favourite track is, or have I missed one off the list? Let me know, I'd love to know your comments. While you're in, why not check out the rest of the channel, because I've got reaction videos, I've got deep dives, I've got live streams, and I've got reviews like this. If it's your first time here, welcome along. I'm so glad you joined me. If you can like and subscribe, that would massively help me out. If you're returning, hello mate, it's great to have you back. Thanks for joining me on this journey today. This is the greatest rock riffs of all time. I've had a blast. I hope you have too. I'll see you in the next one. Love and peace.